I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can
Can you
hear
hear
you
me?
now. I can hear you.
All right. What's
Can you
going on,
hear
bro?
me? Made it.
Yeah, we got about 40 minutes. Hopefully I could edit the 15 minutes of me looking at the screen out, but let's get this going on. First episode of Every Other Weekend, where guys embattled by the corrupt family law system in Southern California come to talk shit, get stuff off their chest, and let it do what it do. So, Drew, how you doing today, sir?
Doing amazing. Doing amazing. Amazing day. I wish I could be with my child, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, brother. You know, unfortunately, it's something that far too many guys are going through. But that's why we're here to help people, fathers in particular, learn how to navigate around the system and how to obtain what is naturally, rightfully, and their God-given birthright, which is, conservatorship, possession, ownership of their children. But just we had talked about, the Amber Heard situation. We got to kind of blow through this pretty fast where the meeting ends at 6. But give me your thoughts on that real quick. Drew, what you think about what's going on?
I just read a story. Owen Wilson, actor Owen Wilson. He just had a daughter with a female. He's got to pay $25,000 a month, and he's never even met his daughter. $25,000 a month. This is his third kid. He's got 2 other kids. He's got 2 boys. Now he's got a girl, and he's never met her, but still he's got to pay $25,000 a month for support after he's already started an initial $70,000. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that's just right off the press. I just barely read about that. But the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation, it's a good thing, right? To bring some attention to, fathers going through this crap. It's kind of sad that it has come to this to get that well-deserved attention and recognition and acknowledgement, really, of what's been taking place in the family law courts. But it's a good thing for us, for fathers in the struggle. But I've been following the case very, very thoroughly, and crazy. McDonald's, man.
What about the Johnny Depp case sticks out to you? What for me, it's the one of the main things is guys see how ridiculous these family law equity courts are, but kind of go into what has stuck out the most in your mind.
Really, to me, it's just the fact that I don't believe Johnny Depp thinks he could win or believes that he's going to win. To me, it's just that he is trying to get the public, right, in the court of opinion, public opinion, to change their attitude so he can get back into his work. So it seems like he's having to pay this crazy extortion fee, right? Lawyer expenses, whatever other court fees he's had to pay just to get his motion heard, just to be able to, have the people, the public, hear his side of the story, and hear, hear and see his evidence. To me, it's like an extortion, really. When we're supposed to all have fair access to these courts, right? It shouldn't have to cost anybody. I'm sure it's costing him ridiculous amounts of money, but that we could never afford. But he's paying it, and he's doing it just to get his image clear. And it seems like she's been getting away with everything. Still has her contract with what is that? What's the Aquaman? And but supposedly, I don't know the gentleman's name that's in Aquaman. His last name starts with M, but supposedly he just started following Johnny Depp on his tweet and supposedly Amber Heard's not going to be on part 2, and that's why they supposedly delayed the opening of that movie to reshoot the scenes that she was in. So that's a big thing. And it seems like, well, we already know that Johnny Depp has already lost his franchise, the Pirates of the Caribbean. He's supposed to be in part 5 or whatever it is. But hopefully Disney changes their mind, because it really seems like in the court of public opinion, most people are pulling for Johnny, and can see now that this woman has obviously got some serious mental health issues. And it seems like a lot of females and males are narcissistic, borderline personality phase. Johnny Depp's psychologist diagnosed her with hysteria, or I forget what it's, something like that, but basically just that she blows everything out of proportion, and borderline personality.
Sounds like histrionics.
That's the one. Yeah. And it just seems like it's a good thing though that all of his information came to light, because it clearly shows to me that she's been lying through her teeth. She's been lying through her teeth and getting away with everything, trying to play up this victim role, saying that she was going to donate all of her proceedings, all of her divorce proceedings, $3 million, right? All of it. She was going to donate it to charity. Johnny Depp paid her that $3 million, and he's paying for that $3 million for that she said that she was going to give to charity. He's a stand-up guy. He's going above and beyond. It's just it shouldn't have to come to this. A man shouldn't have to shell out that much money, if he does or if he doesn't have it, just to be able to have people hear his side of the story, to get his story out there, and for his story to be heard.
Well, do they have children together? Because
no,
what is at stake?
They don't have children together. He has children from a prior marriage. I believe he's got 2 children, a boy and a girl, and they're in their teens now, but they never had a child together. She doesn't have any children. She had a past relationship. She was with a girl. I don't know if you know about this. She was supposedly, now she's bisexual. But in her last relationship with this female, I forget her name. I don't believe she's in the business. But she actually, Amber Heard got a domestic violence restraining order placed on her from that relationship. And I don't know if you know, also she was supposedly dating Elon Musk, the richest man.
Amber Heard.
Yeah. And if you look on the Father's Right Movement Facebook page right now.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, you will see a picture of them together holding hands, and Elon Musk is all bruised up. He's all red on the side of his face right here. And whoever posted that said it begs to ask the question. Begs to ask the question now. How did he get that? Because this woman's violent. I don't know if you haven't been following the case. You haven't seen what Johnny Depp has his evidence. She is clearly violent, man. She threw a vodka bottle at him. It ended up hitting his finger. He lost the tip of his finger because of it. It's wild. You really gotta follow this case, because it's crazy.
Women are violent. Women are violent.
Yeah, against males. It doesn't just happen to females, and that's what really this case is bringing home for fathers in the struggle.
The reality, yeah. Let me know if you can confirm this. I heard that the most violent relationship, in that the relationship with the most violent partners, I guess the highest propensity of violence is homosexual, two women. That's the most violent relationship.
I could believe it. Or heterosexual, or gay men, right? I would think that too.
I haven't heard in regards to like the most violent, I haven't heard too much about 2 guys.
So then would you say the second most highest is just a regular heterosexual?
Probably, traditional, man woman. We had talked about too, just real quick, I guess the fallout with the Supreme Court. Now, what I found weird is, this the information about the Supreme Court was divulged from somebody had commandeered or intercepted an email from one of, this was private communication. How was the media even running with this?
That's a good question. They should get in trouble, right, too.
That almost raises to the level of espionage, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is the private communication
like say I steal something and I give it to you,
Yeah.
and you get caught with it. Guess what you're going to get in trouble with, right? Receiving stolen goods.
Possession of stolen
That's a
property.
crime. Why come these media outlets don't get that kind of similar treatment, right? It's just like, okay, we got this information somehow illegally, but hey, we're just going to go ahead and disseminate it to the world without any repercussions. And we're just gonna, is that a First Amendment issue? I mean, is that, I don't know. I don't believe so, because obviously freedom of press, freedom of speech, but.
I mean, I would assume that the private communication of the Supreme Court has to be protected almost like, almost espionage type of situation. This is private communication of,
kind of like almost
highest level officials in this country. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. That's wild that so we can't even really speak on that if that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, because even though they have divulged and disseminated supposed their opinion overturning it.
Yesterday we had talked about your thoughts on just the potential for legalizing abortion in general. Can you go into that for a little bit, and then we'll get into the actual interview?
Wasn't it it was essentially legal with Roe versus Wade. Now they're trying to overturn it, right? Now they're trying to basically withhold and not allow abortion. But that's a very, 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 very touchy subject for so many people. Because for me personally, I hear arguments on both sides. I'm personally pro-life, but at the same time, if a woman gets raped and she gets pregnant, she should have the right to, because who would, I mean, that's a reminder every day. I mean, of some random stranger that you probably know. You could see his face when she blinks, when she closes her eyes. And what if, and then if the child, I mean, come on, she shouldn't have to go through that. Same thing if a female, if she gets pregnant and the doctors tell her, hey, look, if you have this child, if you go through with this, it's gonna kill you. Flat out, it's gonna kill you. There's got to be rules. But then again, I read this other thing today that said something along the lines, if when we're saying that only when a female has a right to what's going on with her body is when somebody commits a crime, then we're walking on a fine threshold. It's like they're saying that the only time that a female could choose to abort a child is when somebody commits rape against her. The way it was worded was basically they were saying that she should have the right at all times because it is her body. But at the same time, I'm pro-life, so I mean, and like we spoke earlier, I mean, if you're gonna have sex and you get pregnant, I mean, you gotta deal with the repercussions. You can't just, I mean, like we talked about earlier, there's how many different ways to prevent the pregnancy. There's birth control, there's condoms, there's for the guy, just pull out. What the heck? Why you gotta let it marinate? Pull it out, buddy.
I say it like this, that given all the options for
day after
not getting pregnant, an unplanned pregnancy is the rebuttable presumption has to be that it's irresponsible,
right?
To all parties involved. Both the guy and the girl. There's no reason why you should have allowed an unplanned pregnancy.
Right.
Just real quick, my main 2 points with abortion is that if a woman is allowed, okay, given the current state of abortion, the woman's right to choose. Okay, if a woman is allowed to unilaterally, terminate a pregnancy, a guy has to be given, if we're going to be fair, a guy has to be given the ability to say that he doesn't want anything to do, financially included, with that child. I mean, women cannot have that both ways. I guess on the other hand, if we were writing policy, I would say, a woman can elect to not have a child, but there's at least 3 people that have an interest in that child. It's not the women like to advertise, my body, my choice. She's not the only person who has an interest stake. Undoubtedly the
more than 3 people though, right?
Full interest and the unborn child would probably rather be born than dead. So there's at least 3 people who have an interest.
And their families and their respective families too,
Yeah.
though.
Okay, but if if a woman does not want to have a child, I mean, that's a delicate situation too. But if a man steps up, if I was writing policy, if a man steps up and said, I want to be a father to my child, okay, at present, the cost for a surrogate is $100,000. So
Yeah.
the father has to be prepared at that point to, pay that woman, what the rate of a surrogate is. So
Right.
that's how I would resolve the issue. But let's get into our interview real quick. We're at the 30-minute mark. We got about 30 minutes, but just real quick, we had discussed these questions. Drew, give me in regards to your matter, what county did you file in?
Riverside County.
Did you see any of this coming? I know you said that you weren't married, but did you see any issues with potentially with withholding custody? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was actually told, and this is why I called it off with my baby mama terrorist. This is why I called it off. Exactly. Shout out to the baby mama terrorist crew. But this is why I called it off with her, because she told me flat out 3 times, not just once, it was 3 times. This was what she said exactly. You will never get to see your child. We didn't even know if it was boy or girl. We weren't even past. We were at our first trimester. This is a planned pregnancy. Engaged with this female. She said, "You will never get to see your child." And I said, "What? Who the heck says things like that?" So right at that moment, I started documenting everything. And she said it a second time, and I was like, "Okay, I'm pretty much done." But after the 3rd time, that was it. That was it. That was the. I mean, you can't get any more, signs, right? That's not a sign. That's her blatantly telling you, this is going to happen. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, which she did also say, But that's, yeah. So I did see red flags, and I bailed. Absolutely.
Okay, so you filed, right?
I filed first. Yeah.
I mean, to me, somebody saying, well, I mean, you got a couple things. You got freedom of speech, but somebody saying that you're never going to see your children in the context of a family law custody issue, I mean, you still have your freedom of speech protection, so there's an argument for that. But for somebody to express, there should be some sort of, dare I say, penalty or ability for the court to at least document that this person's not going to be cooperative, right?
They should be able to, for a business essentially that has seen it all, that has heard it all, they know who's, basically.
You can see a lot of this stuff coming.
They see it every day. This is what they do every day. I mean, by this point, the stage of the game that we're at, they should have been able to see right through this individual that she's, gatekeeping and alienating myself and my child for no reason other than selfish, malicious intent. It's ugly. It's ugly. I'll never get it. I stopped trying to understand it though, because that was the problem I had. I kept trying to understand why this person was doing what she was doing. But see, regular people, normal people will never understand that. They got to stop asking themselves that question, because we don't think like that. We would never withhold a child from the other parent. We want them to be involved in their lives. This is our child, just like the saying, teamwork makes the dream work, right? We have a dream, even though we do not talk about it. We have a mutual goal in mind. That's to raise the best child possible. We want the best for her. We both want the best for her. But obviously, I know that if I was to keep her away from her mother, obviously that wouldn't be in our daughter's best interest. Her mom, I can't speak for her, but I don't know where she's at in her head, why she would want to do this to her own child. She's got to know that this harms our child. She has to. She's a smart.
I mean, the California Family Law Code, it's in the 3000, but it says that one of the determinations that the judge is supposed to use is the fact that which parent is more likely to ensure that the child's going to have a relationship with the other parent. I've never seen that issue even brought up in court, let alone you know, a judge making a statement from the bench saying, hey, you're not being cooperative, and, you know, per our rules here, bro, you got to at least fake the funk and put on a show.
Right.
Is,
Well,
do
it seems like they
you
just go
ever,
right off of mediation. They go right off of, you know, the mediation report. And, you know, it seems like the judges don't want to do any type of looking into it. They don't want to even do any type of, investigation or whatever. And, you know, they're just going to go right off of mediation. So if you already have a domestic violence restraining order, then the other parent could elect to do you could elect to do mediation separately. And that just defeats the purpose entirely, you know. Because all they have to
okay,
do
Drew, real quick, so you were the petitioner.
I am
Did you realize any advantages, right? Did you recognize any advantages? Did it give you a leg up in any particular regard?
No, it didn't give me a leg up personally. I thought that it would, you know, but she was able to mitigate that and do something that to file another action on her own that basically superseded mine. And my case never even got heard because her case got pushed ahead of mine. And so it was really like she was the one who filed first. It was like that because her case got heard before mine. So and then they rolled in her favor. So my case was irrelevant and never got heard. But
she allegations?
Oh yeah, allegations, domestic violence.
Silver bullet game changer.
You know, silver bullet. I got hit by the silver bullet. Yeah, I did. I really didn't see it coming. It just really threw me off. The whole family law experience really just took me by. I was just completely unaware, completely thrown off by what was going to take place when I first walked into that building. I didn't think everything was going to go down the way it did. It's very sneaky the way they do things. It's very good old boy society. You know, it's shady as hell. You know, if this is supposed to be.
Did you ever feel like the judge was fair, or was it pretty obvious rather it was you against the world from the beginning?
Yeah, it was definitely obvious that it didn't matter what I said or did. The judge is always going to rule in favor of the other attorney, because obviously we all know that judges are former attorneys. They're not, you know, we all have implicit biases. You know, that's a fact. You know, some of us don't recognize them or don't acknowledge them, but you know, it happens. It is what it is.
But we had talked too real quick. Do you think that that's part of the problem in family law or administrative court, because it's you versus another private attorney? Okay, in the context of criminal court, you know, a lot of that is offset by the fact that the district attorney, who would be the prosecuting attorney in a criminal matter, has a fiduciary responsibility to, number one, do justice, be fair. And justice, what I mean by that is making sure the guilty gets punished, but also he has an equal responsibility to make sure the innocent goes free. So
he might, but they don't do that.
But you know, for instance, family law, in the event of you had mentioned some allegations, undoubtedly your ex told their private attorney some things that were exonerating to you. You know, undoubtedly she told them a conflicting story, changed the dates, a lot of things that happened in family law court, i.e., you know, I know for a fact in my matter, my wife initially told her story, and I believe that this is actually the job of family law paralegals, is to take the mom's story and then fit it into a pattern that the judge will use, because that's exactly what happened. They, you know, they took her story and then, you know, dressed it up, if you will, to put it in a format the judge will say, well, you know, that's freaking domestic violence, right? Or and they have the district attorney or the assistant district attorney, if you don't know if you've seen this video, somewhere in Texas, she's the tutoring, right? He's tutoring, right? Giving the game to family law attorneys on how to file a restraining order so, they could get what they want.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Okay, we're coming up on, we got about 15 minutes. Just real quick, Drew, can you tell me what you did wrong, if at all anything? What do you think you did wrong in your family law matter?
I laid down with the wrong person.
Okay, we get that, but what once you filed, what you did wrong there? Everybody noted.
What I would do differently from the very beginning is I would have lawyered up. I would have gotten, if the other side has an attorney and you don't, you need to get an attorney. But you got to make sure that your attorney is going to do what you want. How is going to, and I'm sure you've had your issues with this. You're going to want to make sure your attorney follows your game plan and is not afraid to object to things that infringe on your rights.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part, though, because when you start, you don't know anything. Well, I mean, I don't think this stuff is that complicated. I think anybody with at least like a 12th grade reading comprehension level and, just confident and has some sense of self-worth, you can get through this, but you start to doubt your ability. There's, you got the 2000 page California Family Law Code. You got the code of conduct. You got all this stuff that you have to learn immediately. You got to learn these rules overnight and you start to panic. I would say that, because attorneys typically, I had 8, some were better than others, but they do not show their real hand. Yeah. 8. Attorneys don't show their real hand till they, the sky's the limit before you give them your retainer. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for you, Mr. Payer. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of everything. But it's easier said than done. A lot of people say get an attorney. That's easier said than done. I would say a couple things. I would not recommend going through this without an attorney. Just some of the consideration that the courts give attorneys or represented litigants versus non-represented. But I would say get an attorney, but you can't be afraid to fire your attorney in the middle of the courtroom. Can't be afraid to do that. But you need a divorce consultant, i.e. a dad, like me or you, somebody that has been through it and can that be a second set of eyes. And I would say you need your own paralegal. Your attorney's going to have an office paralegal, your own. They're out there. Go get another attorney to help you organize your files. And a lot of these paralegals also know a lot about the law as well. But in regards to what you did wrong, let's go into, did you do anything right?
Well, I thought I did by filing first, right, and being proactive, but I can't see that I did anything right just because nothing has gone my way. If I know what I knew now, I'm sure things wouldn't have gone the way they've gone. But because these are administrative courts, really, everything that it seems like happened to me is because I went along and played with their with this play and played my role. And if I would have known that these rights that we have cannot be waived, they have to be waived intelligently. If I would have known, basically to go in there and just to let them know that I do not consent to any of this, I do not consent. That is just in my answer. I do not consent. I do not consent. I did not consent.
Well, I mean, you gotta get your objections on the record. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, I would object to everything. I was reading earlier today information about what the statement of decisions, right? You need to ask for one of those every time you go to court. Every time you leave court, respectfully, Your Honor, can I get a statement of decisions? You know what I'm saying? Just to just to I want to hear your legal argument for what you're doing.
In that section, though, it says that only if an actual decision, a final decision has been made, then you have the right supposedly to ask for it in writing. Yeah, but have you had a final decision in your case?
Well, I'm assuming that, anything in regards to custody, when I was placed on supervised visitation, I'd ask for statement of decision to everything.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
Everything.
Yeah, I don't think they would give that to you because it has to be like a final decision kind of thing. But it doesn't seem like there's ever been. I know in my case, there's still no. It's still open. It's still going on, ongoing. It's been 6 years ongoing, and there's still no final decision. So they're sneaky. They're so sneaky in family law courts, and they know this. They know this. But what I would recommend though for any guy that's going into family law court is to definitely know your rights, to know what you're doing as far as when you get into this arena, because
okay, but what rights specifically? What are you talking about? What rights do you think that maybe you missed out on that you didn't assert?
The biggest thing would be just your jurisdiction. Obviously, if you go into a family law matter and say, like in my situation, there's allegations of domestic abuse, you have to go into these courts because it's not even a criminal court. Obviously, it's a quasi criminal court, right? Quasi criminal hearing. You have to go in and demand that your case, these criminal allegations be heard in a criminal court of law where due process is honored, right? Where you get if you don't have a right to if you can't afford an attorney, one will be supplied for you. Where your case is going to be decided by a jury of your peers versus the judge, jury, and executioner himself. I mean, you got to demand for these things. You got to make sure that you do not give in personam jurisdiction over to these individuals because they will take advantage.
Well, you had talked about like trying to force your attorney to do certain things. See, that's part of the problem as well because attorneys don't typically. Because while you're talking, I was thinking along the lines that part of your defense or the execution of your position rather is you have to put the entire family law system on trial in that, start pointing out, how this is a violation of my civil rights and everybody's in on it, including your honor, right?
That's going to be hard to prove and overcome, man.
I call fundamental rights a blanket, the blanket of security of, your privacy. We had already talked about, how your wife is going to, she's going to undress you in court, bro. She's going to undress you and it's going to become public record. How is, what happened to my fundamental rights of privacy?
Yeah.
Attack the entire process. Okay. You have to, don't play attorneys, right? They're going to play by the rules, right?
Once you do that, once you try to, like you said, I mean, you're really giving up your in personam jurisdiction. I mean, you got to call jurisdiction right away. You can't let that case even start progressing. You want to argue jurisdiction, have a jurisdictional challenge right away. Maybe even in writing before your actual case. What did you see up to 2 days prior, right? Before the time of your hearing. You want to make sure you write, your objection and let that be one of them, and make sure that that when you do go to court, that the hearing that you're supposed to be there for doesn't get heard because your jurisdictional challenge. They have to overcome that before they move on, they proceed. And it's really a jurisdictional issue if you're facing domestic violence restraining order. If there's domestic violence, then let it be heard in a criminal matter, a criminal court. That's not the venue for you to be heard because you're going to get the shaft. Do not do it. Do not do it. Don't even go there.
Were there any books that you could recommend? Did anything in particular help you out? A website, a person? Did anything kind of like give you a lot of help?
Of course, YouTube was a big help. And
any content provider you want to shout out?
Not necessarily. I was hooked on any one, but you just really got to divulge into everything that you could read. California Rules of the Court, the Alkin's Family Task Force, that whole little book that they have. Try to read the Family Code. Anything you can get your hands on that's relevant. California Rules of the Court. even maybe USC, the US Code. Try to get as much information as you can get. There's also some good websites out there that just provide kind of like cheat sheets of just case law. You want to just get familiar with as much case law as you can that's relative to family law and your rights as a parent, because there's lots of good case law out there, and if it just is weird how they don't recognize this case law. Where are we at on time, man? I see you looking up there. Where are we at?
Yeah, I'm trying to. We got about 5 minutes. What one thing, right? If you could change one thing, what would be the biggest game changer? The change to most guys would appreciate.
In what? In the relationship or in family law?
Well, not necessarily in the context of family law. What?
Okay. Judges can't make decisions. They're not allowed to rule on your case. There is, because obviously we know that they're incapable of being a neutral third party, a referee. They're incapable, absolutely incapable of doing it. We got to take that power out of their hands. They should not be allowed. There's a conflict of interest as well. If you're telling me that these people can make decisions that are going to make any child support go up or down, and these states get incentivized by the federal government, and this is a county employee, that's a conflict of interest. This person shouldn't be allowed. There's no person that's wearing a black robe in the building that should be allowed to make a decision on your case, period. I mean, we don't have to teach these guys what a conflict of interest is. They know what a conflict of interest is. Are you going to tell me that, okay, they'd be foolish? These guys are a lot smarter than they come off. They play dumb. They won't talk about it. They'll never bring it up. When you bring it up, they'll just ignore it. You got to stay on them. You got to stay on them. And you just got to stay on. You can't allow anything to proceed. Put the brakes on that shit right away and stand your ground. Don't let them proceed. You got to stand your ground. Don't let them proceed.
Yeah, I mean, it should be very little that judges actually rule on in family law. I mean, finances, and if you're married, the rebuttable presumption is 50-50. So I don't even know why it even would take that long to get to the bottom of, selling a house.
Is it the rebuttable 50-50 in the state of California? I don't even think we're there yet.
In my matter, the finances were resolved in 3 months. Sold the house, and that, I'm just trying to put that out there on how, little, or how fast or how expeditious this process should be, because, there should be very little back and forth. And, it's custody is 50-50 unless, somebody has been convicted criminally of child abuse. Okay. But other than that, and in all honesty, the family law judge only should rule on matters that, have already been adjudicated in criminal court. So that, the family law judge officiating over custody should be, short of a, I don't have a criminal conviction of domestic or child abuse. So it's 50-50, deal with it.
But even when it is 50-50, it's really not 50-50. But that's a whole different subject. Well, that's a whole.
Well, it's authentic 50-50 is what I mean.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I wanted to shout out. We're coming up on 3 minutes and counting. Me and you will be in attendance May 11th, the 22nd. Excuse me, May 11th of this year, rather. In Sacramento, up there with Miss Michelle Chin and California Families Rise. If you think family law is bad, juvenile dependency is 25% worse. This is a national and universal issue. This is happening all over the world. I implore everyone to, because you have at least heard of a story of somebody who has been so unfortunate to have come into contact with CPS. This is an entity you do not want in your life, so me and Andrew are leaving possibly Tuesday evening. Reach out if there's still people trying to caravan. We're leaving from Southern California. We got 3 minutes left. We got 3 minutes left. Andrew, I'll give you the floor for the final 3 minutes.
Yes. So what I would like to say is just never stop. Never stop fighting for your children. Your children need you. Our children need us. Never stop trying to fight for them. Always keep track of everything. Write journals. Save receipts. Take pictures. Start a photo book. Start a log, a journal, something. And what I try to do is I try to write letters to my daughter almost every day, and that way, when we do get reunited again, because I haven't seen my daughter for about over a year now, and if she ever does remember this, I mean, I will have I'm not going to show her anything from the court. If she wants to see that when she's over 18, I mean, she'll have access to it. But what I'm gonna show her is these letters, these love letters, essentially, to my daughter, letting her know that I never forgot her, I've never stopped thinking about her, and that's all I want to do is be with her. So never stop fighting. Just remember, you're up against a narcissistic individual that it's their goal. It's never going to stop. So always just plan, be proactive, learn as much as you can, teach yourself about narcissism and what they're going to do and how to overcome these things, how to beat the narcissist, and never stop trying, but work on yourself. You got to kind of stop asking yourself those questions that are going to eat you up alive, because you're never going to understand. You have to just, live healthy, so you could be a better father, a better person. Your time will come. Your time will come. Our time will come. Karma is my ex. I'll end on that one.
All right. Almost exactly. We're at 5:59. First episode of Every Other Weekend. More to come. We're gonna put it down for everybody. We're gonna teach dads how to go in there. Nothing would have made me happier than to be able to walk into the court, without an attorney and walk out of there with the bag, and that's what we're trying to show dads how to do. Don't be afraid of not having money, but all you need is, these are your children, right? If anything is going to motivate you is your children. So all you should need is a cup of coffee and a book, and you should be able to, go to court and show up. All right, that'll do it. All right, Drew, I'll catch up with you.
Hit me up.